3 months into dating, James sat her down. Serious. Concerned. "Jennifer, you're sitting on a property that's about to lose value. The market is shifting. I've seen the numbers. If you sell now, I can invest that money for you. Double it in 18 months. Trust me." He used the words she wanted to hear. Safe. Secure. Future. Together. She trusted him. She sold the house. The house her husband had loved. The house where she'd planned to grow old. The house that held 15 years of memories. The sale brought her $640,000. Combined with her savings, investments, and the life insurance money she'd never touched, her net worth was just over $1.2 million. James helped her move it all into a new account. "Joint access," he said. "Easier for the investments. I'll handle everything. You don't need to worry about a thing." She didn't worry. She was in love. 2 months later, he proposed. A private dinner at the restaurant where they'd had their first date. The same table. Purple tulips everywhere. He knelt, opened a ring box. Inside was a diamond that caught the candlelight and scattered it like stars. "Jennifer, I've been waiting my whole life for someone like you. Will you marry me?" She said yes. The wedding was small. Intimate. Just family and a few close friends. James had no one to invite. No family. No friends from his past. Just a few business associates who sent gifts but didn't attend. Jennifer's sister asked her, quietly, the night before the wedding, "Don't you think it's strange? That he has no one? No history?" Jennifer smiled. Squeezed her sister's hand. "He has me now. That's all that matters." That she was wrong. No one. That wasn't all that mattered. Jennifer mattered was that she just handed a stranger access to everything she had. He has me now, and that stranger thing about her disappeared. She was wrong. Marriage lasted 11 months. That mattered. 11 months of luxury, of breakfast in bed, of vacations to places she'd only seen in magazines, of feeling like she'd finally arrived at the life she was supposed to have. But the cracks were there. If she'd looked. He traveled constantly. Business, he said. Deals that couldn't wait. Deals that required his physical presence. Deals that always seemed to happen in countries without extradition treaties. He was secretive about money. When she asked about the investments, he became annoyed. "You don't trust me," he'd say. "After everything I've done for you?" She stopped asking. His phone calls became shorter. His explanations vaguer. His presence in her life a diminishing thing, like a photograph left too long in the sun. She told herself it was the business, the pressure, the stress of managing so much money. She told herself it would get better when the deals were done. She told herself everything was fine. On the last night, they had dinner together. A nice restaurant, good wine. He held her hand across the table, told her he loved her, told her he was proud of her, told her the investments were about to pay off big. "Next year," he said, "we're going to retire. Travel the world. Just you and me." She went to sleep happy. When she woke up, he was gone. She checked the bank account first. It was the most logical place to start. $0. The joint account. Her life savings. Her inheritance. Her house. Everything. Gone. She called the bank. The transfers had been initiated 3 days ago. International wire transfers. 10 separate transactions. All authorized. All with her husband's signature. All to accounts in the Cayman Islands, Switzerland, Singapore. She called the police. They took a report. Said they'd look into it. She called the FBI. They asked if she'd signed any documents giving him access to her accounts. She had. They asked if he'd ever threatened her. He hadn't. They asked if there was any evidence of fraud beyond his disappearance. There wasn't. "We'll open a file," they said. "But to be honest, ma'am, this looks like a civil matter." He had legal access to the accounts. He didn't break any laws by transferring money he was authorized to access. Her husband had stolen everything she owned. And legally, he might have done nothing wrong. Jennifer hired a private investigator. He was good. Expensive. The kind of man who'd work for banks, insurance companies, families like hers who'd been destroyed by people like James. It took him 3 weeks to discover the truth. James Montgomery did not exist. His real name was Mark Harrison, 52 years old, born in Illinois, married 4 times, divorced 4 times, arrested twice for fraud, convicted once, served 3 years in a federal prison. He was not a financial consultant. He was a con artist, one of the most successful romance scammers in the country. And Jennifer was not his first victim. The private investigator found 3 other women. Women who'd met Mark Harrison online. Women who'd fallen for the same charm. The same purple tulips. The same dead wife story. The same promises of a future together. Women who'd handed him their savings, their inheritances, their houses. Women he'd drained and discarded like empty bottles. The first victim lost her retirement fund, $200,000. She was 61 years old when he left her. She now works as a grocery store cashier. The second victim lost her home, the house her parents left her. She lives with her daughter now. She doesn't date. She doesn't trust anyone. The third victim lost everything: her savings, her business, her will to keep going. She took her own life 2 years after Mark Harrison disappeared from her world. Jennifer sat in the investigator's office and stared at the photographs of women who looked like her. Women who'd been chosen for the same reasons she'd been chosen. Alone, grieving, trusting, desperate to believe that someone saw them, valued them, loved them. Mark Harrison hadn't loved any of them. He'd seen them as targets, numbers to be extracted, lives to be consumed. "I'm sorry," the investigator said. "He's been doing this for 20 years. He knows how to disappear. He knows how to make himself impossible to find." The Cayman Islands don't extradite for financial crimes under a certain threshold. Switzerland protects banking privacy. Singapore has no extradition treaty for fraud. Mark Harrison had chosen his destinations carefully. He knew exactly what he was doing. Jennifer asked if there was anything she could do. Anything at all. The investigator hesitated. Then he told her about something he'd found. Something that might be the only way to bring Mark Harrison back. A photograph. Recent. Taken 3 weeks before the disappearance. A woman in a cafe. Laughing. Holding Mark's hand. Her name was Linda something. The investigator didn't have a last name yet, but he was working on it. "She's probably his next target," he said. "If we can find her, warn her, maybe we can catch him before he disappears again." Jennifer took the photograph, studied the woman's face. "She looked happy," he said. "She looked in love. If we can find her, warn her. She looked like Jennifer 3 years ago, before she knew that fairy tales could be weapons." Jennifer took the photograph. "Find her," studied the woman's face. "I don't care what it costs," he said. "Find her before he does to her what he did to us 3 years ago." The investigator nodded. "I'll do my best." He did find her. 3 weeks later, in a small town in Pennsylvania, a widow, 57 years old, recently sold her house, recently opened a joint bank account with a man named James Montgomery. They got to her 2 days before the transfers were scheduled. She didn't believe them at first. How could she? The man she loved was everything she'd ever wanted. He was kind. He was attentive. He understood her grief because he'd lost someone too. It took 3 hours. 3 hours of showing her photographs, documents, the mugshot, the other women's testimonies. 3 hours of watching her face crumble from love to disbelief to horror to grief. When she finally understood, she didn't cry. She sat very still. She asked one question. What was his real name? Mark Harrison. She nodded, looked at the joint bank account statement in her hand. Over $800,000. Her entire life. Minutes from being gone forever. "I almost lost everything," she whispered. "I almost lost myself." The Pennsylvania woman agreed to cooperate. She let law enforcement set up a trap. She told Mark Harrison, still calling himself James, that she decided to transfer the money early. A surprise. A gift of her trust. Could he meet her at the bank to sign the documents? He agreed. He always agreed when money was involved. On a Tuesday morning in October, Mark Harrison walked into a bank in central Pennsylvania expecting to collect $800,000. He walked into a team of FBI agents waiting to arrest him. The arrest was quiet, professional. Mark Harrison didn't resist. He'd been arrested before. He knew the routine. He asked for a lawyer. Refused to speak. Sat in his cell with the same expression he'd worn at his wedding to Jennifer. Calm, composed, empty. The FBI charged him with wire fraud, identity theft, and money laundering. The total amount stolen from his victims exceeded $5 million. Jennifer testified at his trial. She sat in the witness box and looked at the man she'd married. The man who'd given her purple tulips. Who'd looked at her like she was the only person in the world. Who'd promised her a future and stolen her past. He didn't look at her. He looked at his lawyer. He looked at the judge. He looked anywhere but at her. She told the court about the night she woke up alone. About the closet emptied of his clothes. About the bank account showing nothing. About the years of loneliness that followed. The years of shame. The years of wondering what was wrong with her, that she couldn't see what he really was. When she finished, she looked at him one more time. He still didn't look at her. Mark Harrison was convicted on all counts. Sentenced to 15 years in federal prison. The judge called him a predator. A man who weaponized love. A man who used grief as a tool to destroy lives. Jennifer listened to the sentence. Then she walked out of the courtroom. Walked past the reporters. Walked to her car. Sat there for a long time before she could drive. She'd gotten justice, but she'd never get her money back. Most of it was gone. Transferred through so many accounts, so many countries, that even the FBI couldn't trace it all. She'd lost everything she'd built with her first husband. Everything she'd saved. Everything she'd trusted someone else to protect. Jennifer Wells lost her money, but she didn't lose herself. It took years. Years of therapy. Years of rebuilding. Years of learning to trust herself again, even if she never learned to trust anyone else. She lives now in a small apartment in a city she chose for herself. She works as a financial consultant, irony not lost on her, helping other women protect themselves from the predators who see their vulnerability as opportunity. Her story holds lessons for all of us. Lesson 1. Real love doesn't need your money. Anyone who asks for access to your accounts, your inheritance, your assets, before marriage, during courtship, ever, is not acting from love. They are acting from opportunity. Love doesn't require financial proof. Love doesn't demand your house as collateral. Love doesn't need your PIN number. Lesson 2. History matters. If someone has no past, no family, no friends, no photographs from before you met them, no way to verify their story, that is not mystery. That is a warning. People who have lived 50 years have 50 years of evidence they existed. If they can't show you any of it, there's a reason. Lesson 3. Grief makes you vulnerable. Jennifer was targeted because she was grieving. So were the other women. So was the woman in Pennsylvania. Predators look for people who are hurting, who are lonely, who are desperate to believe that someone sees them. If you are grieving, you are not ready to trust someone new with your future. Take the time. Heal first. Love can wait. Lesson 4. The fairy tale is a weapon. Romance scammers don't approach with threats. They approach with flowers. With compliments. With attention that feels like oxygen when you've been drowning. The fairy tale is the trap. If it feels too perfect, too fast, too exactly what you've been waiting for, step back. Real love moves slowly. Real love lets you see who someone is before you give them everything. Lesson 5. You can survive. Jennifer thought her life was over. It wasn't. She lost everything she'd built. But she built again. Smaller. Sadder. Wiser. But she built. If you've been betrayed, if you've been used, if you've given someone your trust and they returned it with theft, hear this. You are not stupid. You are not naive. You were targeted by someone who studied you, learned you, manipulated you with expertise you didn't know existed. That is not your failure. That is their crime. Jennifer's final lesson is this. The man who married her was a fiction, but her love was real. Her trust was real. Her hope was real. Those are not weaknesses. Those are the things that make us human. The crime is not that she loved. The crime is that he used that love to destroy her. And for that, He is where he belongs. If you or someone you know is in a relationship that involves financial pressure, secrecy about identity, or requests for access to accounts, trust your instincts. Call the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. Talk to a lawyer. Protect yourself before you become another story. Because the next person who says, "I love you," might mean it, but the one who says, "Trust me with your money," probably doesn't.